what's going on. Just decided that I'm gonna drive into my last day at Tesla, that I should record some raw thoughts about what I'm feeling and stuff like that. And I don't know, I have no script or anything here. Just kind of wanted to put it out there, exactly why I left, what I was going through, and you know, how I'm feeling today, obviously, and what I have planned. Hopefully this kind of goes like that. But basically what I've been thinking about, well, let me start from the beginning, I guess. I started out at Tesla in 2000. First day on site was in 2016, but my first day working there every day was September 2017. I started as a contractor. Basically, I worked for an electrical contractor who did installations for power distribution and stuff like that. And basically, I was helping the construction management team who was starting the second phase of the cell lines. I was helping them with the initial electrical rollout and distribution of that of the system needed to power all those tools. And basically, I was working on the warehouse. We were receiving all the electrical panels and whatnot. And basically, I would, I was just helping the construction manager, basically. So there was, a couple different guys assigned to each discipline: mechanical, electrical, process, and controls, and all that stuff. And I was just helping out the electrical guy because I worked for an electrical contractor and I was receiving the gear. And honestly, I was probably just responding to emails was, the highlight of my support to him. And, I was just able to put some, information together on an Excel spreadsheet super easily. And that, going from a warehouse manager with basically just inventory management skills and being like a year out of the military, I was able to get a staff augmented position there in the office helping manage that construction. And so September 2017, I go in there and I do that for about a year. I'm helping them with management of construction, and let me be clear, I don't have any experience in construction or construction management besides, the management of an auto shop that I kind of helped with for a month or two, and just people skills that I picked up from the military. And, got me in my, just helping out, got my foot in the door and got the contacts, and that got me in the building. So anyway, started helping with that. I was pretty much just putting data together. I knew some of the electrical panels and stuff because I'd been helping with that warehouse deal for a year. So I was able to be like, oh yeah, we need to make this change, and here's the breaker, and here's all the parts we need and stuff like that. Just, working with vendors to get all the parts and stuff like that on time. And the engineers who were kind of strung out on what they were doing, helping them with stuff in the field, getting photos and whatnot. And, back then, I will say, kind of like a whole, mantra to this entire thing is that basically the structure in the team there during that initial construction phase was massive. We probably had, I don't know, 100 or 150 Tesla employees maybe committed to that construction. And so it was a huge support structure for whatever I needed, basically, as starting out, just trying to help out, basically. And so I gained a lot of experience, and I got some some pseudo mentorship from people that are helping me out while I was just struggling with grasping ideas and concepts of how management and construction projects works. And I was able to grow a little bit in that structure. And coming from the military, I'm sure that's probably something I just need to keep an eye on. So do that for about a year, again, from September 2017 to August 2018. Do that for a year, and in July of August 2018, before my contract was coming up on that on that support, and basically I wanted to I need to make a move. That company that I worked for, they weren't really looking, they didn't really have anything for me coming up. And Tesla, I wasn't sure, basically, because I didn't have a degree, which was usually a chuck the block type of thing there, as with a lot of other companies, of course. And I wasn't 100% sure, but they surprised me, and Tesla extended an offer to bring me in the building full time as an employee. It was basically the construction manager I was working for at the time, Sasha. She's the one that really drove that. She convinced her management to convince their management that, hey, this guy, regardless of what it says on his resume, he's been killing it out here for a year on site and a year off site. I knew everything that I needed to know about that place at that time for that type of position to make sense. So they were able to get me through all those hurdles, and they got me a position. Within that weekend, my contract ended, and then I started within the next just over that weekend. So that worked out really well. But that's that's kind of where it started to go downhill a little bit, because as soon as that happened, Sasha, she put her notice in, and so I was working with her. She was the construction manager who knew she knew her shit, and I'm just the kid doesn't really know, but eager and willing to bust, and we were killing it. I thought we worked really well as a team, but she put her notice on to bigger and bigger things, I'm sure. And that sucked. I got another mentor, more or less, so I took over her work. And that's kind of just what, if people leave and there's no one else to fill, and, they're not hiring for that position, well, they're just going to move that person up and kind of see what happens. So that's exactly what they did with me. So I was starting to manage my own stuff, and still obviously needed a lot of support because I didn't know what I was doing. And the other mentor I had, he was Masood. He was really strung out on what he was doing, because he was managing an entire discipline by himself, basically. And so he helped me through some stuff. We had a lot of good talks in the evenings and into the late evenings, and we would just chat about stuff, and we would talk about bigger things like relationships and stuff like that, how you need to interact and function within that type of organization to manage and cope with how things operate. And I took a lot of what he said to heart, but there was also times where I was just I don't really want a lot of what's happening here. People are jerks to each other, and they got a lot of everyone's kind of strung out, and I get it. But I guess there's probably more that I could have done to make things better. So Masood puts his notice in about a year later after Sasha. And this is, Sasha put her notice in after I got hired. So she left like January 2019. And then I get through to January 2020. That's when Masood put his in. And I was hooking up to another banger project manager, Matt. And yeah, I mean, he was someone I looked up to as a person that I wanted. Like, if I was going to be a construction manager or project manager, that's who I wanted to be, basically. So, that was exciting. But that was, January 2020. That was right before COVID really took hold. So basically, how COVID went down for us was we were getting hot and heavy in construction. A lot of things were happening. I was looking forward to a lot of things happening, and it all stopped. It was probably March or April. They had us pause for a month, basically, to kind of see what was going to happen. Now, if you look at the news, March, April, May 2020, Tesla didn't stop. Tesla didn't stop. Construction still proceeded on Model Y, tooling down in Fremont. And the company was banging on the door, saying, hey, like, lockdown, what's going on, dudes? They kept just going with that. And, it's, some people I knew, they, I don't know exactly, like, how they got roped into all that, but they, God bless them. They went down there in the fucking heat of the pandemic and still busted it out down there to make sure Model Y came out on time. Like, man, I can't believe it, I was asking, why, how, like, what are you guys doing? Like, people are dying, are you kidding me? Like, why are you guys doing this? And at the same time, as everything I was doing was paused, they kept going. And I started to package up, I was being asked to package up my position a couple of different ways to basically, make it easier for if someone, if I got laid off, if someone wanted to pick up my jobs, they'd be able to. So I did that a couple different ways over a month and a half. And really just kind of that's when I really kind of broke down. I wasn't sure what was going on with work. I was in gotta think back, honestly. I was in pretty good credit card debt for a minute there. It was crippling. I guess I don't know everyone's idea of crippling debt, but I mean, at the end of the month, my expenses ended up to $250 extra that I would have for food and gas, to get around. And I would drive to work every day. And that was tough, That's really what stopped me from, splurging on stuff. I had spent all sorts of stupid money on stupid things, computers. I bought a Tesla, just whatever. So I started to peel all that back. I mean, I sold the Tesla before COVID, but there's still some spending habits I need to stop there, and obviously the credit card debt was a majority of my expenses. So I was really eager to drive that down. So April 2020, yeah. So they're down there busting it for Model Y production. I talk about caring about the company. God damn, they cared about the company at that point. And that's when it mattered too. And yeah, I mean, that's when it mattered. Hindsight, it's good that it happened, because that was one of the best like couple of months, quarters for Tesla. Everyone else was shutting down, and Tesla was producing and still pushing out cars and pushing out new Model Y. So they had things really going for them, and that helped the stock. That helped the stock. And part of the compensation plan at Tesla is you get your salary, but they also give you equity in the company, and so that really took off. Just tell you, like, I got $60K given to me over the 2.5 years I was with the company straight, and that ballooned over that year to almost $500,000. And I was due to get all of that at the end of December 2022. Just kind of comes out quarterly. Probably have to look at the schedule to see when that was all due, but I kind of wasn't really focused on that because I never thought I would ever see that, and I'm not seeing that. So yeah, that's when it mattered. They killed it down there for that, and I packaged up my job a couple of times and pretty much just looked inwards, like, why, how, all that stuff. Like, does anyone really care? And, just thinking back, like, I'm literally thinking back about that situation right now, and I thought they didn't care, but literally they cared so much that they were willing to risk their, risk their lives for that job. And I wouldn't do that, even now. Like, I talk about caring, but I'm not going to risk my life for a company. I'm not going to risk anyone's life for the company. That's just something that's just not worth it to me. A company, no. When I was in the military, like, different story, 100%. Money is just not worth it, to me at least. So yeah, let's look back at myself. So yeah, April, May, I'm going crazy. April, May 2020, COVID, I'm going crazy. I don't know what's going on. I'm in credit card debt. I don't know if my job's here or there. I don't know, with all that stuff in the news, like what the next steps were. So I pretty much just took it, like, I basically was looking for other ways, like, how can I live and cope, because I was never really a fan of Tesla. Even when I got offered that job from Sasha in July of 2020, like, I still wasn't 100% then, but I still took it because I didn't have anything else. So so I wasn't 100% sure, and in May I was really looking at, like, hey, what can I do to get out of here? And I was looking at all the different ways, between the equity, like, how can I maximize that, and how can I maximize my time while still trying to cope with, everything that was going on in my head. Like, I found one guy online who basically, he'd been living in the back of his truck, full-time camping basically for the past 5 years at that point. And I guess just that freedom was really what I was looking for. Here I am driving to my last day. I've driven this specific route for the past, like, 3.5 years, almost every weekday, and a lot of weekends, unfortunately. And yeah, it's a lot. So I was looking at, like, the freedom, like, especially with COVID, everyone was looking for that freedom. Everyone was trying to get out of, like, being stuck inside and stuff like that. And I didn't think it was affecting me that much, but it affected me totally. I guess I was just looking for that freedom. So this guy, he'd been living out his truck, and I kind of, like, took that, and I was like, man, I got to do that. And kind of, at this point, like, he does YouTube videos and ad spots and stuff like that, so that's how he makes his money. He doesn't own any property or anything like that. And that's the difference. Like, I own my house, I have a mortgage obviously on it, and that's something I want to keep, because I don't think that not having property, like a lot of these people online that they live full-time on the road, a lot of them end up talking about buying land and stuff. It's tough out there, just hearing all those stories. So like, unless you had like a house, or you got a fifth wheel or an RV and parked it at a park to have some like some normality, it's tough. So I always wanted to keep the house, and I was looking at different ways how I could like supplement that income, and I could rent the house out and stuff like that, and I could still do that. I could put away a couple $1,000s to rent the house out and just keep it on the up, basically. Look into like mortgage and everything like that, because I have a VA loan, but that's here nor there. But yeah, just looking at different ways how to do it, how to make money on the road and stuff like that. And I got a couple of different ideas, but I don't know, none of them that really, I mean, a lot of good ideas, a lot of bad ideas. Yeah, we just gotta see like where it all goes, honestly, on that one for the next month or two. But for now, I'm focusing on reflecting on Tesla. So basically, April, May, looking at what else I could do. That probably didn't help, because I was looking at all the different options, what I could be doing, and I'm still busting at Tesla, trying to make everything happen and all that stuff. And it's hard looking back. But just want to do it to reflect. Yeah. So the support structure, April, May 2020, falls apart. COVID comes down. The Matt and my boss shoot down to support Model Y tool install. I go to the house, package up my job a couple of times. May, June, everything starts, trickling back in. We start talking about, hey, we need to do this job, like, because we have, our schedule literally will not solve for the deadline that we have for it. Those types of things, So we started doing those things, started executing on those projects. And then, I guess at some point, like, those things kind of just turned into everything, and then we just started doing everything again. Because I don't remember exactly when everything started coming back. There were definitely times when funding was pretty constrained and stuff like that. But it was never, if we needed to do it, we could do it. And so, forgot my sunglasses. I think it'll be okay. Yeah, so where was I? 2020 June. Yeah, we started doing a bunch of projects again. And we just gotta go for it. So basically, how that went down was like, since my management, my mentor, my boss, they were in California, I was in Nevada still, and I was basically, me and this other guy, Jake, one of my very good friends at this point now, we used to start doing a couple of jobs together that needed to be done. Everyone kind of came back, and like, obviously it never got back to normal, but we just kind of settled into what the new normal was going to be, masks and face shields and all, and just kept doing projects. And since when I first started, obviously we had a large team. I had a lot of support, but there were times where that support was at every company, like, there's always, they always hire like one, two little people basically, to do the job. And, you know, Tesla feels like they probably didn't hire like 5 people that they should have for that job. But that's neither here nor there. And so I had a lot of support initially. Some stuff fell through the cracks. You know, there were some people that when it fell through the cracks, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, like, you know, saw that coming, which is unfortunate. But I guess they're just those types of people. And you just gotta learn to live with that and have proper expectations. And, you know, though, it kind of worked out to a point where those people, like, we had all sorts of people that really did what they needed to do. But at the same time, you know, the company was cut back, and, you know, a lot of those positions ended up going away. And somehow I lived through a lot of those layoffs, like craziness. I don't know. And so we get down to, you know, June, July, August 2020. You know, I still have a little bit more experience. I can read drawings. I can, you know, put a contract together, all that stuff. But I don't have that much building experience, you know, like I had a lot of experience with electrical. You know, more or less can do that, but I'm getting thrown at everything. Mechanical, controls, structural changes, you name it, you know. Fire alarm changes that I'd been helping with before, the electrical, but then we're doing like suppression and all that stuff, you know, a lot of stuff. And I'm struggling, you know. I don't know those systems that well. And I'm self-solving a lot of that stuff to try to figure it out. And, you know, I take it on myself to do a lot of that work. So, you know, the support structure's kind of gone. The people who are still at the company, they're doing everything they can to keep things moving, but it's just not enough. And the only way to make, you know, any good progress on my projects a lot of the time was to do the work myself. You know, if it was someone else's position, being a, you know, engineer that's, you know, making changes on a drawing that, you know, I can probably make and it's more or less going to work out. Or, you know, someone in accounting doing like a purchase order document for, you know, getting something bought or something like that. You know, I did a lot of that to make things move on. And, you know, that wasn't my job description by any means, but I just don't think I'll ever fall into like a job description. Like, I think I just like, you know, do everything I can to make whatever I need to do happen. And that's probably something else I need to focus on as well. And, where was I with that? Yeah, so I'm frailing around, trying to get everything done, trying to make sense of everything. And I just get myself into like a funk where basically I was so strung out because I didn't know what was going on half the time with all my projects that I had to keep everything in email so I could keep my like thoughts and ideas and like progress and everything like on paper, because I couldn't remember it. You know, I'm smoking weed basically every night at this point. So as soon as my butt hits the chair at the house, you know, I forget, you know, maybe what's going on at work. And like my mental health just doesn't, like my head doesn't let me forget a lot of that stuff. So, you know, even like on vacations, I would still be stressed out about work stuff, you know. So that was like the one way I would cope with it. With not being able to stop thinking about work was to, you know, and so I'm not thinking about like, you know, how I can do better at work or anything. I'm basically busting out as much as I can at work, getting mad that there's, you know, that I have to do a lot of other stuff that I pretty much signed myself up for, and then getting high to cope with it. And it's just like a vicious cycle of, you know, highs and lows to a point where I'm like, I'm driving into into work like crying, and I'm driving away from work, you know, beating the hell out of my armrest here, you know, singing some song as loud as I can, so I can literally not think or feel anything else except, you know, what I was screaming or beating on to try to stop feeling or thinking about work. You know, so I'm going through that, and I decide like in August, September, October, I don't really remember when, around then, but I decide that, you know what, my team that is coming back a little bit and getting built, Matt never came back. You know, my boss, she came back. But me and her kind of never got along anyway, for different reasons. And, you know, I just decide, hey, you know what, like, I just need to find something else. And it was really ahead when, like, we had a project that was, you know, 3 or 4 days from, you know, the county coming out and looking to see what we've done, and if there was no progress on the project, they would have shut our production line down for about $100K per line per minute, which I can't afford. So I don't know who could. So I didn't want that to have my name attached to that. And basically I needed a piece of information. And me and one guy that I'd been working with for years, we were going back and forth in a chat. He was in a meeting for something. I think it was something that was probably just as important. And he was telling me he would tell me later. And I was like in a chat with him. And I was like, no, just tell me now, like, what's going on? And I was calling him, texting him, he's not responding. He was just responding, so I'm like, okay, like, what the hell? So I go bust up to his office and then interrupt his meeting to ask him, like, hey, like, you know, what's going on? And so me and him just got into like 10-second screaming match, and then I walked out, and that was it. And walked over to my boss and was just like freaking out because, you know, I wasn't getting that information. She told me not to worry about it, and like, I'm like, you're like crazy, like, how can we not worry about it? And yeah, so I'm pretty sure I ended up leaving early that day. But then I came in the next day and told her, like, hey, I need a change. And there was another team, you know, like maintenance team that was, you know, needed a person that could manage construction projects. So I'm like, hey, I'll just go over there. You know, I talked to one of the guys. He said that would probably happen, and started making the moves to make that happen. And you know, that did happen. So, you know, I got in with that other team that was basically like a maintenance facility, you know, group that would maintain the building, some engineers that would help with issues and stuff like that. And I was just doing side projects for them, basically. And this was kind of like, you know, it probably wasn't something like, if I had looked at it for a couple of weeks, I probably would have realized this would have happened. I go to this team to do the side projects that, you know, are just kind of like out there. They're small, just small little things that are bigger than an engineer or a single person can take on themselves, while also trying to help maintain the facility. So I go to start doing these, and you know, I had some experience, don't get me wrong, but I definitely didn't have enough experience to do a lot of that stuff. And they really need someone that could do all that stuff as a one-man, you know, operation until a team got built up, and could also cope with no structure. Because I was, at the end of it, I was reporting directly to the manager of the building, and you know, he didn't have time to manage me. me. So he was, kind of back and forth on what he wanted to do with me. And it didn't sound like what he wanted to do with me at the end of it. It was going to work out anyway. But, so I'm starting to help with these projects, and basically, like, I start to realize, like, the support structure is just not, there. Even more so at this point. My new boss, he's strung out with, 3 or 4 other large maintenance and operation tasks that have, maybe 30 or 40 people operating under those tasks. So he's, going back and forth with all those people leaders on all that stuff and stressing out about all that. And he's the only person I talk to that I'm on a team with. The other people I talk to are those same people, the accountants that I was having issues with before, and the engineers that I was having problems with before. And being on these non-critical projects and not having those relationships built up really put me in a bad place. And I basically didn't get any updates or anything on those projects. So it just seemed like no one really cared or was interested in what I was doing. And so I'm just sitting there stewing, like I'm reporting all my information that I can with little to no progress, without like major, me like basically doing like other people's jobs again for them, which just kind of is what it is, in that position. So doing all that, stewing in it, really not like where I'm at. At this point it had been 8 months since COVID started, or so, and I was really just like at the end of like really caring about what Tesla was doing out here. I just did not see, I won't get into any of that, but I just didn't see any future. So just doing it that, and that once my new boss, he got picked up for a very prestigious position within the company, and I don't blame him for a second. He took that, and he was gone. He gave us notice on Friday that was his last day in our team, and he was starting Monday with that new team. And it didn't initially affect me then, but when that happened, it was 2 weeks, and I had put my notice in. And I don't know. That was rough. And like I said, a couple of times, there's some things I definitely need to focus on. I got the next at least 2 months to really kind of take a step back. I got a couple of bucks saved up. Obviously Tesla's been doing pretty good on the market. Elon keeps sending out tweets, and that helps. So I got the next couple of months to really download exactly how this all went down, and like understand, like, as an individual, what I need to work on. Because everyone else that I'm going to see right now, they can all make it right now. Maybe they're struggling, but right now they're making it, and I couldn't. So I really need to take a step back and realize, understand where I went wrong with my expectations and understanding in relationships, and be a little bit more mindful, probably a little bit less selfish, figure out what I like about life. And think about what I'm going to do next. You know, like I said, I got a lot of different ideas, and I thought I had an idea a year ago, but I can't, I don't know if I'd like living out of my truck full time. As cool as that sounds, I just, yeah, maybe a van, but a truck topper, you can kind of see it behind me, it's, no. So yeah, I'm just about to pull up here to the factory, so just wrapping it up, but basically, I just need to go in here and, you know, hopefully it's just a couple of hours, but basically just knock it out. You know, I got a couple of things to do, and a couple of people to talk to, and probably some hard conversations to have. And I just need to bust it out today. And look forward to the future. All right. Catch you guys later.